Sometimes a draw ceremony produces a matchup that makes you stop whatever you're doing and just stare at the screen for a second. Not because it's unexpected, not because it's shocking in the traditional sense, but because it's so loaded with meaning, so dense with narrative, that your brain needs a moment to fully process what it's looking at. That's exactly what happened when the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix released its first round draw for the 2026 Stuttgart tournament. Phone down, volume up, because what we are about to walk through is not simply a tennis preview. It is a cultural collision that the sport has genuinely never seen before, and it is happening on Monday, April 13th, on indoor clay, at one of the most prestigious venues in women's professional tennis. Alex Eala versus Leylah Fernandez. Read those two names again slowly. Let the weight of that matchup settle. The Philippines versus Canada. Two left-handers. Two women with Filipino blood running through their veins. Standing on opposite sides of a net in Stuttgart, Germany, with a spot in the round of 16 on the line. This is the kind of fixture that screenwriters would get sent back to the drawing board for pitching because a room full of studio executives would tell them it's too on the nose, too perfectly constructed, too implausibly loaded with symbolism to feel believable. And yet here we are. Welcome back to Fleshbowl Court Pro. If this is your first time here, this is the channel that goes beyond the scoreboard and tells you what's actually happening, what the numbers actually mean, and what the real story is underneath all the surface-level tennis coverage. Today we are going deep on a first-round match that deserves far more conversation than it's getting outside of Filipino tennis circles. And the first thing we need to do, before we talk about tactics or trajectory, or what this match means for the broader clay season, is give Leylah Fernandez the full respect and honest accounting she deserves. Because if you walk into this matchup thinking she's just a name in the draw, just a ranked opponent on a piece of paper, you have already made a very serious mistake. Leylah Fernandez is one of the most genuinely remarkable stories in women's tennis over the last 5 years. She's a 5-time WTA champion. 5 titles across multiple surfaces, multiple continents, multiple contexts. She won in Monterrey. She won in Monterrey again. She claimed Hong Kong. She took Washington, D.C., a WTA 500 title, which is not a minor achievement. And she added Osaka to the list. These are not participation ribbons. These are tournament victories over the best players in the world in professional settings where pressure is real and the margins are razor thin. But her title count, impressive as it is not what defines her legacy. What defines her legacy is what she did at the 2021 US Open at 18 years old. 18. At Flushing Meadows, on the biggest stage in the sport, she walked through a draw that included Naomi Osaka, Angelique Kerber, Alina Svitolina, and Aryna Sabalenka in consecutive rounds. Think about that sequence for a moment. Each of those players, at various points in their careers, has been considered among the best in the world. Fernandez beat all 4 of them back-to-back, and only fell in the final to Emma Raducanu, who was playing what was arguably the most extraordinary fortnight of tennis any player has ever produced. That run didn't just announce Fernandez to the world. It announced her as a player built for the biggest moments, a player whose competitive engine runs faster and hotter when the stakes are highest. Her career high ranking reached 13 in the world. She has been to places on the WTA Tour that most professionals spend their entire careers dreaming about. She is currently ranked 25, which puts her 21 spots above Alex heading into this match. And she is coached by her father, Jorge Fernandez, who has been in her corner from the very beginning, building her game around a philosophy of controlled aggression, smart variety, and that near-supernatural ability to elevate when the moment calls for it. She won the Roland Garros Junior title in 2019, becoming the first Canadian to claim a junior Grand Slam since Eugenie Bouchard. She speaks 3 languages, and her mother is Filipino. That last line, that is the detail that transforms everything. Leylah Fernandez has Filipino heritage through her mother, Irene, who carries the lineage that connects Fernandez directly to the same community of over 115 million people who stand behind Alex Eala every single time she walks onto a court. Fernandez has spoken publicly about her mixed heritage, identifying with both her Filipino and Latina roots. She is proud of both, and that pride is real. But on Monday in Stuttgart, The same community that partially belongs to her is going to be singing Alex's name from the stands, and that dynamic, two players with Filipino blood competing against each other on a clay court in southern Germany with thousands of Filipino fans in the arena, is something the WTA has genuinely never seen before. The Alex Army does not disrespect opponents. It does not boo. It does not tear people down to lift its own player up. But it is singularly, completely, and unconditionally devoted to one player, and that player is Alexandra Aya. Now let's get into the tennis, because the tactical picture here is genuinely fascinating, and it deserves a serious breakdown. Both players are left-handed, and in professional tennis, left-handers represent roughly 10% of the tour. Finding two of them in the same first-round draw is unusual enough. Finding two of them with this much-shared cultural backstory in the same first-round draw borders on the surreal. But here's why the southpaw mirror match matters tactically. When a left-hander plays a right-hander, the left-hander has a built-in geometric advantage. Their serve into the ad court curves away from a right-handed opponent's backhand, pulling them wide off the court. Their cross-court forehand attacks the right-hander's weaker side. The entire architecture of a left-hander's game is designed, over years of development, to exploit a right-handed opponent's vulnerabilities. When two left-handers face each other, all of that disappears. The ad court serve that normally pulls opponents off the baseline now curves into the opponent's forehand. The cross-court forehand that usually targets a weakness now lands on the strength. Every pattern both players have spent years perfecting against right-handed opponents has to be rebuilt on the fly, recalibrated in real time, tested against a mirror that reflects everything back at them. That creates a test of adaptability, of tactical intelligence, of the ability to construct points from scratch rather than leaning on habitual patterns. And in that specific test, both players have genuinely interesting credentials. Fernandez's forehand is a precision instrument. She can change the direction of the ball mid-swing in a way that very few players on the tour can replicate, creating angles that seem to materialize from nowhere. Her backhand generates trajectories that bend around geometry in ways that are almost uncomfortable to watch if you're on the wrong end of them. Her movement for someone at 5 feet 6 inches is compact and explosive, covering ground with an efficiency that makes her seem larger than she is on the court. And then there's her competitive fire, the fist pumps, the intensity between points, the way she seems to metabolize pressure into fuel rather than letting it accumulate as weight. A player like Fernandez doesn't need to be in perfect form to be dangerous. She needs a single moment, one early break, one winner that catches the line, one crowd reaction that sparks something inside her, and suddenly the player who showed up looking like she's searching for answers becomes the player who knocked off the top 4 seeds at a Grand Slam. That is the opponent Alex is walking into on Monday. That is the version of Fernandez that could absolutely show up in the Porsche Arena, and it would be intellectually dishonest to pretend otherwise. But here's where the honest picture gets genuinely interesting for Alex, because the form line in 2026 tells a very different story than the career resume does. Fernandez has struggled badly this season. 4 wins and 9 losses heading into Stuttgart. That record spans Brisbane, Adelaide, the Australian Open, Abu Dhabi, Doha, Dubai, Indian Wells, and Miami. A 4-9 record is not the rhythm of a player operating with confidence and clarity. It is the record of a player who is working through something, searching for the version of herself that ran through Flushing Meadows 5 years ago, feeling for the thread that pulls it all back together. The competitive fire is still there. The talent is still there. But form and confidence are interconnected in ways that are hard to untangle, and right now, Fernandez is on the wrong side of that equation. Alex, by comparison, has gone 15-9 in 2026. She reached a semi-final in Auckland. She made quarterfinals in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. She went 4 rounds deep at both Indian Wells and Miami. She recorded wins over Donna Vekic, Jasmine Paolini, and Diana Schneider. Players who are not fillers. Players who are legitimate top-tier professionals. And then in Linz last week, she went toe-to-toe with Jelena Ostapenko on clay, won the first set, pushed the second all the way to 5-5 before ultimately falling in a match decided by 6 total points across the set. 6 points. That's the margin between where Alex is right now and a win over a former Grand Slam champion on a clay court. That is not a comfortable loss.